In the table, everyone, of course, trying to catch the Dutch, who've only dropped 2 points so far in this qualifying campaign. As a welcome in, Julien Laurent is with us. Jules, the Dutch a real deal?
I think it's a little bit early. We saw them having a very good Nations League under Ronald Koeman, as you know, my friend, Dutch guy. And I think the talent is there. It's always been there. The problem has never been the talent because they've had generations after generation of talent. It's more when it comes to the big tournament, as we saw in the last Euros, for example, to make it happen, to be solid defensively, to be efficient going forward. Is Memphis Depay the answer as a number 9 or a false 9? How do you play with the 3 at the back, with the 4-3-3, which is the legendary system really in Dutch football? And I'm not sure Koeman has sorted everything out. However, they are very good. They are very talented. We see the 4-2-3-1 of today, which is also because of the opposition. I think 4-3-3 is probably still what Koeman would choose to do, but they've got plenty of options. Even when you see that Reinders was not starting tonight, that Xavi Simons was not starting tonight, they've got so much talent and potential, and yet I'm still not sure all the pieces of that jigsaw fits always, especially in big games.
Not bad though, is it?
On paper, yeah, it's talented, but I think we're probably all in the same boat. You know, we know they're good. We know they can perform the way they did against the likes of Finland, but when it really gets to the nitty-gritty, do we think they're going to take that step and win something? The answer's got to be no.
Well,
would you like to add to this?
No, I mean, they're a good side, but I think when you get up against the likes of France in the big tournaments...
Yeah, well, they pushed Argentina, didn't they, all the way, of course, that feisty game in the end in the World Cup.
They did. That was the one where Messi got up.
I know, I'm just saying, but they went to penalties, didn't they?
Aye, but that's the kind of thing we expect to happen with the Dutch now.
Okay.
A little bit like your mob England. We know they're going to get far. We just don't think they're going to win it.
Okay.
And the Dutch just fall right into that category.
Let's talk about your mob then, shall we? Scotland.
Oh, no.
Scotland then with a 2-1 victory. Then in Denmark, of course, very much the favourites to advance.
Well, I think they have to play Greece. There's 2 games left. They have to play Greece, I believe, and Denmark.
Okay.
Denmark are the best team in the group by a stretch. And then, you know, Scotland are up there, but they got completely outplayed by Greece in the previous game. So they're going to be in the playoffs at worst. But it was just the general feeling around Hampden. I only saw the second half, and I'm glad I only saw the second half because even Belarus, who, as you can see, have no points, caused Scotland all sorts of problems. They had a goal chopped off by VAR, going back to a free kick that was, 50-50. It just wasn't a good performance. And look, Steve Clarke, and Stevie mentioned this the other day, since he's gone in there, he's got the results to get them to major tournaments. But at the moment, and this is just the feeling I think from the bulk of the Scottish fan base and journalists, is that the performances, as a general rule of thumb, not just the qualifiers but across all the games, have just been so dull. And then you're now balancing up, what do you want? Just results and getting there, or do you want performance as well? Because when you're getting outplayed by Spain and even Denmark and Greece and some of the better teams, although Greece are not one of the better teams, that's one thing. But to be outplayed at home in a qualifier by Belarus, as they were at times, and it was so flat. The McTominay thing, I think, summed it up.
Yeah, why didn't he celebrate?
I mean...
Why? Well, because...
You score a qualifier, you score in a World Cup qualifier.
Yeah.
Well, because they were booing.
Right.
I mean, every time somebody made a mistake, you heard the groans and the moans and the boos. And I understand that it would be nice to play well, regardless of who the opposition is, and win comfortably. But at the end of the day, it's about winning and qualifying. And by the end of this game, Belarus scored in injury time. There was thousands had gone home. I mean, seriously, does Scotland think they're supposed to be Brazil? And I understand that you want to see some entertainment, but at the end of the day, it's about winning and qualifying. And the crowd don't help. It's one thing, yes, the team playing well and giving the crowd some excitement to get them going, yes, you want to do that. But sometimes the crowd needs to get the team going.
Right.
And booing and moaning and... I mean, just, come on, give yourself a shake. All you want to do is qualify.
I mean, maybe at times you could see your team play a bit better. You look at some of the players out there, some of them are all right, others are they're not the best. Let's be honest, it is far, far from even in the top 10 strongest ever Scotland squads. And sometimes you just want to play a little bit of football, and maybe there's a sort of feeling going around the game at the moment that everybody has to play in a certain way and everybody can play in a certain way. That's not the case. And what gets me with some of these supporters, and we both played under a bulk of them, although most of them will be a lot younger fans these days, is that they moaned and groaned for the best part of 20 years that it wasn't about performance, it was about results. Because since '98, when I played, they hadn't been to a major tournament until they went to the Euros a couple of years ago or whatever it was, that Steve Clarke delivered for them. And they whinged and they moaned and they groaned and they cried about, we just want to be at a major tournament. Well, he got them there and now they just want more. They want their pie and they want it bigger and they want it tasting better. And sometimes you have to be careful what you're wishing for. Stevie Clarke's going to leave at the end of his contract, as Stevie said the other day. They've got a chance of going to another major tournament, but they have to remember sometimes, and I know you always want better, but you have to remember sometimes. For 20 years, all these countries went off and played in these glorious big tournaments, and the Scottish fans and the Scottish players sat in the backside.
Yeah.
But now they've been to one or two, whatever, I can't even remember how many Euros they've been to. It's 2 European Championships, I think, is that they want it with style now. And I'm not sure Scotland have the players to play with the kind of style they want and get the result.
Did Steven Gerrard linked to the Rangers job? Apparently he's turned it down.
He's turned it down.
Is that surprise you?
Not really. I mean, at the end of the day, when you take on a job, you want to have some tools. Because right now, Rangers need to win some games. And I don't think Rangers' squad is anywhere close to even winning the Scottish Premier League. Never mind competing in Europe or anywhere else. And so, does Steven Gerrard really want to go in there right now with a squad that's going to take a lot of time? I don't think Rangers have got a lot of money. So, yeah.
What's Gerrard's next step? Is it going to be similar to Lampard, where he takes like a Coventry?
I get the impression that he won't do that. I get the impression that he'll just do some coaching, help out wherever he can, and I don't believe he really wants another big job. Because if he did, he would take this one. If it was just about getting a big job, he would have taken this. He said the timing's wrong. Right. That's just an excuse for just saying I'm not interested. Right. Really. Let's be honest. That's all it is.
He's had a look.
The timing's not right.
He's had a look at the shambles of recruitment that they've had.
Okay.
He's had a look at Celtic, who even their fans are moaning about they didn't strengthen, but they're still better and they have a better manager. And if we're being honest about it, apart from I think he won did he win the title? He won a title there when Celtic were a little bit weak. Yep. But fair play to him, he did. But apart from that, what else has he done to return to this job? Villa? No.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia? No.
Nope. So
it's not like he's ripping up the trees here and Rangers have to... Rangers are desperate. Now, who wants to go and manage that club at the moment that are a shadow of their former self? So I think
Carrick is favourite. I think that's...
Well, they're also... They're trying to take Derek McInnes from...
well, he's not favourite at all. What weighted odds?
22
They're trying to take They're going to try and take Derek McInnes from Hearts, who has gone into Hearts and done a great job. He did a great job at Kilmarnock. That is who they're trying to take. So whether that happens or not, I don't know, because Hearts would be very upset about that. But that's where I think they're going to try and go. But it's just, look, Celtic and Rangers, it's just not what it used to be.
In case you missed out, it was a 0-0 draw between Croatia and Gibraltar. How the
What?
heck did that happen? Oh, it wasn't. Apparently, it wasn't a 0-0 draw. I hope the Emmy people are watching this. All that's wrong. Ignore all of that. Meanwhile, in the other group, we also saw Austria in action against Romania. Austria with a win there, and Cyprus who beat San Marino by 4-0. Now, it has been a disaster, of course, this show, and also qualifying so far when it comes to getting people interested. This is what Ceferin's had to say.
Croatia won 3-0.
Thank you very much, Craig Burley.
I mean, it's close.
Perhaps the qualifiers could be different. There won't be any more matches, but a more interesting format. We're thinking about this right now. Jules, I was thinking about this in the shower before this show. Should have stayed there, really. But I don't know how you fix this.
No, that's a great question because inevitably they always want the big countries to be at the Euros or at the World Cup, right? So you can't do some sort of qualifiers that are similar to the Nations League, which we like because we see, France against England or Germany against Italy or Spain against Portugal, etc., etc. You can't do that because you want them all at the World Cup or all at the Euros. So they will still have at some point to face smaller teams. So do you do maybe a league phase and the top 8 or the top 10 of that league phase qualified? You do some playoffs. So you still have big teams against each other, but sometimes they will also have to face smaller teams and batter them and being very uninteresting. I don't know how you do it really because by definition, everybody have to compete, right? It's not like the Nations League. So I think it's very difficult. And we know that from next season, they changed the international break. So instead of having the one in September, October, November, they're going to mix it all in one kind of a longer one. So at least this is a little bit better. But I don't know how you make those qualifiers for the World Cup a bit more interesting, really.
Why did you hit the table?
Well, the Gibraltar scorelines upset me.
You thought they got their
Thought they got a point.
I mean,
you were Danny Higginbottom in Gibraltar.
What, you realised that? I don't know. I don't know where you go with this.
It's not easy. It doesn't seem like a quick
It's not.
fix. You're kind of stuck with it.
It's not because there is qualification. You have to have qualification, so you have to have the matches. You have to have groups.
Everyone has to have a chance.
Yeah, it goes against the grain to have it in a certain way where eventually some of the bigger countries just could get knocked out because, let's be honest, we're already saturating these big tournaments with teams that are not going to compete just to try and appease and filter money down to some other countries and all that sort of stuff. And so FIFA can make more money. So I don't think there really is an easy answer. I suppose, as Jill said, condensing it all in sort of one period where we can all take a holiday.
Well, exactly.
And it's very and it's very crystal clear when those dates are. That's a good thing. I don't see how. I don't think it's an easy answer into how do you make these more exciting, because at the end of the day, the qualifiers are not about being exciting, they're about qualification.
Yes.
And you have to have a due process to have that done.
Unless you're Scottish.
Is this just us being elitist? Everyone's got to have a chance?
No.
If it's not entertaining us, then tough. It's not about that.
I mean, there's nothing you can't change it.
No. I don't think it's us. I think there's a lack of interest across the board. And I think the fact Ceferin's making these statements is an admittance that international football, out with the actual major tournaments itself, is becoming difficult.
Yeah,
nobody's interested.
There is a lack of interest because the focus has moved a lot to sort of club football, with the money that's gone in there, with the sort of humdrum that it draws and all the razzmatazz. Everybody now just wants to talk about, the Premier League, La Liga, the Champions League, all this sort of stuff. And international football, until it gets to the big tournaments, where it is to the fore, is just taking a huge backward step. And it's hard to put that right.
The positive side is they have made that change about condensing more games, getting rid of one window. I think that's great. Because apparently they're suggesting that it gives domestic football an extra week, which means teams get a break.
There you go.
So
lovely.
That's the positive side, yeah.
Always the positive, Stephen
Gibraltar.
Nicol.
Yes, you're right.
Kylian Mbappe has started the season with some impressive numbers. 14 goals in just 10 games for Real Madrid. He has been their best player, but concern from the Real Madrid fan group, of course, after him coming off for France. What's the latest, Jules? Obviously, all eyes on the Clásico at the end of the month.
Yeah, that's right. He won't play against Iceland tomorrow night. He's gone back to Madrid already with a small ankle injury. I was being told today that it was not too serious. I think it was more by precaution than anything else. So I don't think Real Madrid should be too worried. He's played a lot since the start of the season, really. He rarely comes off early from the Real Madrid games. He's played a lot with France as well. So I don't think they don't want to take any risks for Iceland tomorrow in the qualifiers. But I think he should be okay for the weekend with Real Madrid in La Liga.
Why was he even playing, Jules, in this game?
It's a good question, Dan. To be fair, I think there was a few positions where we were wondering why Deschamps played him. He's still the captain. He has to play. He was getting closer to Olivier Giroud's record of the top goal scorer in French football history with the national team. And I think he thought Azerbaijan, maybe I could score 5 and become the top goal scorer. He only scored 1 and assisted the other one. But I think he wanted to play as well. But really, the most important of the 2 games, the tougher one, certainly on paper, was more Iceland away, which is tomorrow, than the one at home at the Parc des Princes in Paris on Friday against Azerbaijan. So if there was one to miss, really, you would have thought it was the Azerbaijan one, not the Iceland one, but they did the other way around. And yeah, maybe that was a mistake, although again, I don't think it's too serious, his injury, and really France should win even without him tomorrow.
I have to say, Jules, you surprised me. When we asked you to give us your top 10 players in Europe so far, I thought it was a given it would be a Frenchman and it would be Kylian Mbappe who would sit at number 1 of your top 10, but it's not.
No, because you know me, I'm always objective, especially with Paris-born and bred players, But right. In this case, I thought we all this together, and I felt this was fair. As much as I think Kylian is incredible and the best in the world and the best on earth, Erling Haaland is just on fire again, as we saw against Israel last night. Even if he missed that penalty and the retaken penalty, he was still incredible. Harry Kane has been on fire too, slightly more than Kylian, so I think Kylian in third is right. Pedri is a magician, we've seen that this season. I thought Saliba has been outstanding. Arsenal haven't considered a goal when he was on the pitch this season in all competitions. Caicedo, for me, the best in his position in the world right now. Luis Diaz on fire with Bayern Munich. Julian Alvarez has had a great period. Rasmus Højlund is resurrected since he left Manchester United. And I even find space for Antoine Semenyo because what he's been doing with Bournemouth so far this season has been really incredible.
No, not arguing with Semenyo. As you say, it's been fantastic. I think, Jules, out of that, I think Julian Alvarez could definitely be higher, considering what he's done for Atleti, certainly over the last few weeks.
Yeah, to be fair, I went a bit back and forth with some of them. I thought Caicedo deserved to be quite high as well. I wanted a defender for that, just for Stevie, really. Yep. But with Alvarez, let's not forget, though, that him and Atletico Madrid didn't start that well. But you're right, over the last 3 or 4 games, including the Madrid derby, he was pretty unplayable. So I could have easily maybe put him a bit higher up.
Stevie, you happy with that top 10?
I would have had Rasmus Højlund higher.
Would you?
Aye.
How high?
I would swap him and Saliba.
Right.
I'd knock Saliba down and put Rasmus Højlund
okay.
out there.
But you're happy with Haaland being number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah? Haaland, Kane, Mbappe?
No, I don't have a problem
Not
with
having this Erling Haaland conversation
again.
No, is he the best striker in the history of the Premier League? Top 10, you happy with that?
Yeah. No problem.
So obviously, if we're going to do the good, let's do the bad. The top 5 flops, which is basically Florian Wirtz.
Why do we
plus
have to
4.
do the bad?
Well,
who's done this? Not Jules.
This is Jules. Wirtz, Cunha, Rodrigo, Almeida, and Jonathan David.
This is normally a Van Leer one.
Right,
normally Pete's the one that sends you the email or calls you and goes, right, can you give me your top 3 worst in the weekend?
Well, this is just
what's a horrible thing to do?
Well, just because Florian Wirtz is there?
No, it's just a horrible thing to do. Why do you have to do that?
Since when have you cared so much?
You've
been slamming.
Hold on a minute. How many years have we've been on this show?
Exactly.
We do horrible very well.
Basically.
We're just a horrible...
We're excelling tonight, and I can assure you.
I mean, we're just a horrible bunch.
Yes, yeah,
Particularly when it comes to Man United. That's why he's put Matthias Cunha in there.
Jules, let's go through a couple of them. Maybe people don't know Jonathan David that well and what he's done since the move, or not done, and Almeida as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Stevie. This was hard, to be fair. And 4 of those 5 are new signings as well, so they need a bit of time to adapt to this new club, etc. But anyway, they're there. Jonathan David has been poor, really, with Juventus in a position where there's a lot of competition, with Luis Openda also being there, and of course Vlahovic still being at the club. And I think he felt that pressure. He hasn't hit the ground running really at all. And for Thiago Almada, I think as great as he was for Lyon last season and as good as he's been with Argentina overall really recently, with Atletico Madrid, it hasn't worked out yet for him. And again, it's very early in the season, I know that. But simply every time he's played, they haven't won. They haven't won a single game when he was on the pitch. So this really is not a good start.
Does Wirtz play Man United?
Oh, God, no, we got days for that.
Hold on, does he play off the back of the international break? Does he play?
Ooh, I don't know, I need to think about that.
He deserves to be number 1.
Don't be mean. What about your friend?
Which
Who
one?
Liverpool signed from Bournemouth?
Oh, Kirkhouse.
Hey, you've been learning. He's got to be in that conversation.
He's been in front.
I tell you who could be there is Trent, couldn't he?
Yeah, he's had an
If
injury.
he played.
Yeah, but when he has played, he hasn't done.
You
much.
you could throw in Frimpong at Liverpool, who hasn't always played.
Yes.
Yeah, he's well. Trent Alexander-Arnold's problem is not just his form and his defending, and the fact that Xabi Alonso is, he has Danny Carvajal fit, one of the best fullbacks in the modern era, who has recovered from his ACL. So you could, I suppose, put him in, although he has been benched a couple of times. Yeah, I mean...
Why Cunha over Sesko, Jules?
Yeah, Sesko.
Sesko has been scoring 2 goals in his last 2 league games.
Okay.
Cunha, I know, has been injured a little bit, but Cunha hasn't scored or assisted. Yeah, and again, it's a bit harsh because you need a bit of time for those players, I think, to adapt to the new environment. But really, you expected more. I think the way I saw it, and I agree again with Stevie on this is a bit harsh to do. But I looked at it in a way like, who did we expect more from? And I think those 5, certainly, and we could have added, of course, Trent and others, but those 5, I think all of us at the start of the season would have said, okay, Wirtz, really, we expected more from all. And Rodrigo is there because we thought he might not play much, but actually he did play, he did play a little bit. And every time he played and he had that chance, even on his favourite left side, he was disappointing. So of all those 5, I think we all expected more that we have seen so far. That's why they're there.
Every time we sit here
And criticise anything.
and
really.
do a game, criticise a club, criticise a player, criticise
1986.
defenders, he's going to pipe up about the story about Dougie Bailey
That'll be it.
in the Scottish newspaper.
Jules, are you on the next edition of the Gav and Jules podcast?
Yes, tomorrow,
Wow.
indeed, with Gab.
Okay, perfect. Obviously, you can...
Hopefully that goes better.
The standard has been set very low, to be fair. Rasmus Højlund been in the top 10 players in Europe so far, of course. He has followed a trend of players leaving Manchester United and certainly improving on the performances we saw at Old Trafford. Rashford, McTominay and Anthony. Questions now as to if the likes of maybe Mainoo could make that move from Manchester United and improve. Stephen, I remember when Mainoo, this was all leading...
There's another one, by the way, and it's slightly different circumstances.
Onana?
No, it's slightly different circumstances. Well, not slightly, a lot different circumstances. Mason Greenwood.
Right.
The circumstances are different, obviously,
Yes.
because there was legal issues and stuff that I don't want to get into. But he, I think he's playing in France now. But when he went to Spain, he looked on fire, and I think he's pretty much doing the same in France. So you could chuck him in there as well.
Going back to Mainoo, Stevie, when he kind of came onto the scene, there was a lot of
Right.
excitement,
Yep.
of course, came in, played for England.
Yep.
What's happened?
Well, I'll tell you what's happened is, in my opinion, Mainoo is great with the ball at his feet, but when the opposition have the ball, he doesn't do enough. In fact, he doesn't do anything. He, in my opinion, doesn't stop anybody getting at Man United's back 4. And the fact that that's one of the biggest problems United have, and this guy still can't get a game, he still can't figure it out, and he's sometimes not even in the squad. It's not that he's not even on the bench. Sometimes he's not even in the squad. So I think basically he's been found out, because at the end of the day, when you play with the top clubs and you want to be challenging, your players have to be able to contribute on both sides of the ball, in my opinion. And if there's one thing, unfortunately, Mainoo doesn't do, he does not contribute defensively. And the fact that Casemiro is starting over him consistently tells you that there's a problem. There's a problem. The kid's not as good as we thought he was when he burst onto the scene. And a Man United team that are desperate, but yet this guy still can't get a game ahead of Casemiro in particular, tells you that he's not as good as we think he is.
But isn't this the case, like, with more than just Kobe Mainoo, and not just this club, is that he's clearly a talented player on the ball, right?
He played the final of the Euros.
We've seen this.
Yeah.
We've seen it as a teenager. He's 20 years old now. He's still a young man. Isn't this a case of taking that talent and working with him and trying to help him about the defensive aspects of his game? I'm sure Casemiro, I'm not comparing the two, right? And I'm not comparing any defensive midfielder. But anybody at 20, generally in that position, is a bit wet behind the ears, letting a runner go here or there or being out of position. Surely you work with that. Surely you go in and you go, man, this guy can play. Because you play a Garty, you roll the ball into him, he can't pass it. He might be able to track a runner, but he can't pass it. So why, it seems to me that Ruben Amorim has gone in, and anybody he just doesn't like, or doesn't fancy, he doesn't seem to want to work with them to make them better. He just chucks the baby out with the bathwater.
Right. It seems interesting your choice of words. Work with them.
Yeah.
Because it looks like the work rate on that side isn't there, which is what any coach who has a player who he thinks isn't given the role will quickly, when it comes to having to play either one guy or another, that guy's getting shoved away. And the fact that you're talking about him playing for England in the Euros, probably because he got covered up, because he didn't have to do as much defending because he was playing in a team that actually just suited what he was good at, and he got that part of his game was covered up by others. But at United, nobody's covering anything up for anybody else at United. And so, if you're the coach of United and you're watching Mainoo, time after time, letting people run off them, and not looking as though it's hurting you to let people run off you, looking as though you're not that bothered about it, you're going to the bottom of the pile.
So are we having a different conversation we are about Mainoo than the others that we mentioned, the Antonys, the Rashfords, the McTominays, the Hoylands?
I don't think we should lump them all together, to be honest. I think they're a problem. They all individually had a problem.
No, but what I'm saying is they've excelled to a point since they'd left, yes?
Well,
what you're talking about Mainoo is his problems... Is his problems more than just Manchester United?
Right now, while he's at Man United, right, and whilst the manager is still there right now, then he's got no chance.
No, I know that, but if he leaves Manchester United, will we see a different player?
But has anybody said Kobe Mainoo's... I've not read publicly somebody at Man United saying Kobe Mainoo's attitude's a problem.
No, Stevie seems to...
But you seem to think...
I'm not saying his attitude's a problem. I'm telling you that if the coach... If I'm coaching a team,
like being negative about
if I'm coaching a team and there's somebody in my team who I know on the ball is fantastic, but who doesn't seem to care as much about going the other way, you're going straight to the bottom of the pile. I'm going to put somebody who's not maybe as talented, but who I know is going to work hard. I mean, it's kind of
So you're saying regardless of where he is, he doesn't have it?
I would suggest that unless he can go somewhere, because right now he ain't playing at United. So if he goes somewhere and somebody, as Craig said, maybe spends more time with him and encourages him and isn't going to jump on him as quickly as Amorim has, then he might get better. I just don't see that part of his game ever being top class.
So the other players on that list, you know, the difference, forgetting Kobe Mainoo as a sort of youngster who's still potentially got a long way to go in his career. You know, I'm never a big fan of Antony at Man United, particularly the price tag and how he performed. But his work rate wasn't a disaster, not to my knowledge. Scott McTominay could never fault his work rate, and now he's been brilliant at Napoli. Rasmus Højlund could never fault his work rate. Now he's been short-term been magnificent in Italy, at Napoli. Marcus Rashford is the sort of one that sticks out. Right, Marcus Rashford was not poor at Man United like the others for what rate? Well, it was for what rate? The others were not. His was attitude. Right, I don't know about Kobe Mainoo, but I can tell you about Marcus Rashford. He was pretty much disgraceful for quite some time. Now, we could argue till the cows come home whether Amorim and United handled it the right way. I don't know. Nobody was right. Both could have been sort of wrong. But it was staring you in the face, watching him, talking about letting people run off him, talking about no desire to do any defending. That was him. And the others just didn't perform, and they got a move, and it's kind of working out for them, but they tried at Man United. They put their shift in, and it just wasn't happening. Rashford, that wasn't the case with him. His was just up here in the brain. And so that's why he is a lucky boy to get the move that he has at this moment, and potentially potentially taking it to another level.
What's the market for Mainoo, Jules?
It's a great question. Really, I think England would be difficult for him, also because I don't think United will let him go to to another team that will compete with them at some point. You would think for a top 5 finish or top 6 finish, something like that. Although we know that I think Chelsea were quite interested in the summer. They would want a lot of money for him because they also need money to balance their books, and he's a pure product of the academy. So whatever you sell him for is straight into profit on your bank account and on your books, which is very valuable right now, especially with PSR. I think he has to look abroad more than in England, really, and find the team, again, to go back to what the boys were saying, that plays on his strength. A team possession base, for sure, because that's what he's really good at, where his position will probably be as a 10 or close to a 10, close to a striker, because again, that's where he's good at, really. Deeper than that, I don't think he can, because like the boy said, he can't really run. His work rate is not there. He can't really turn either. He can't defend. The lack of mobility is pretty obvious for all of us to see, not just Amorim. It's just, it doesn't fit for this style and this system. But there's other things that he can do really well. So for me, La Liga would be perfect for him in a good team, obviously. But I think there's also a bit of interest in Italy, like for Zirkzee.
The return, of course, as Steve mentioned earlier in the show, the Premier League will see Manchester United take on Liverpool. Liverpool, of course, defending champions, have slipped up of late for Manchester United. They go into this clash. There's the bottom half of the table. One of those days.
That's the halfway there. None of them are.
There it is. That's good. No one wants to be in the bottom half of the table.
No.
Jules, what's the latest on Konate? Obviously won't play tomorrow.
Yeah, no, didn't obviously play for France on Friday. Won't be involved tomorrow either. He's back in Liverpool now for this kind of a little hamstring injury that he got in the last league game with Liverpool. And again, they were not too worried. I think to be fair, he could have come back to Liverpool a bit even earlier than what he did. But now he's there, and they're really hoping that he could be ready for the game on Sunday.
Taking on Atlanta, 6 minutes before the break here, Messi.
Somebody needs to tell him he's going to try and go on his left.
Into the second half here.
Good goalie.
Jordi Alba.
Just before his retirement.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All the old boys were shining in this game, because then, just 10 minutes later, Luis Suarez would make it 3-0. Oh.
Very stylish.
And then look at the build-up here for this. All over the top. Thank you very much. Messi scores, 4-0.
Great ball. Wee man panics as usual, gets away with it.
Could be the first player, of course, in the history of MLS to win MVP back-to-back. 67 goals and 45 assists. Not bad for the 38-year-old.
What?
Who would have thunk it? Coming here to Major League Soccer and tearing it to shreds.
Didn't have to come against the almighty Steve Nicol-Revs, though, did he? So
Yeah, exactly.
Sorted him out back in the day.
Sorted him out. Don't worry about
that. Orlando then taking on Vancouver. 24 minutes on the clock. Here to be Orlando, who would take the lead. Tor Carlson here on the counter-attack.
A good finish, but it's a lovely little cushioned header for him.
9 minutes to go. Nelson Pierre on the rebound to make it 1-1.
Well, defender slams it against him.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then Thomas Muller, very much enjoying his time in MLS.
Good
old
strike.
Tommy.
Goalie though. Goalie. Come on.
Goalie.
Goalie. Maybe short late. I'll give him that.
Of course, we're very much at the business end of the regular season, and Thomas Muller's Vancouver Whitecaps sitting top of the group. It's all about those 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th, isn't it? Looking to make it into the postseason. At the moment, Portland Timbers looking good. Meanwhile, in the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia Union, of course, top. Meanwhile, Chicago Fire, Orlando and Columbus Crew battling out for the postseason. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Stevie and Craig are with me. This is the first time I've been on with you, Jules, for a while, and certainly the first time I've been on with you since that new background. What on earth is going on with so many different things behind you?
I don't know. Producer Mike made this for me.
Does he not?
He said
Did you
this is
upset
like
him?
Craig's house. So no, I think they're building one for me. But in the meantime, they said that I should have the one that is like Greg's house. So here it is.
It is quite.
I'm a bit worried about producer Mike if he's the one.
This is his interior decorating.
Yeah. Some flowers.
Wow.
Little single chair there.
Wow.
He's changing.
To be fair, it's an improvement on his producing. Right, for the boys.
Dan.
Yes, mate.
Dan, you know, so this is the first time I've been with you on the show since we talked about Howard Webb and how terrible refereeing has been in England, right? And I forgot to tell you, but he called me the day after that show. We were with Craig and Stevie that night.
Brilliant.
Do you remember when he did that show with Michael Owen? And
Yes.
he called me and said, he was in New York actually, so he watched our show live.
Good.
As we were like grilling him and basically saying that he was terrible, his referees were terrible, etc. He called me the next day and said, I don't understand why you were so all against me, etc., etc. It was really funny.
Fantastic.
And did you buckle, Jules? Or did you buckle or did you?
As if I said, listen, Howard, you know, look at your referees and what happened. That was after the Chelsea-Fulham game and the goal for Josh King, you know, and all that thing.
Oh, brilliant.
And really, he didn't have much answer. But yeah, he was watching the show and thought we were too harsh on him.
Oh,
there we
great.
are.
That's like music to my ears. Because the next time, he's going to get a full sledgehammer.
He's going to have Cunha's going to call him tomorrow.
Cunha be on the
Cunha will
phone.
be on the phone
Hey.
tomorrow.
Go, no, I like that Steve Nicol. He was nice.
I tell you what, we've had a rethink. I think we'll just take the Michael Owen approach next time.
Yeah, you weren't being nice about Michael Owen on that show either.
Well, we could just ask him. Don't ask him the soft soap questions. Oh, what do you think? All right, okay. Just fire into him. And if he doesn't want to come back on because he's upset, sod him. How can you complain?
Jules, do you remember when David Schindler was running for FIFA president? He came on the show expecting softballs and he walked off halfway through.
He ripped his mic off and walked off.
So well.
Yeah.
Oh, classic. Have people on upset them.
Yeah,
There you are.
exactly.
Unless you're Stevie, then you don't like criticising people.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah, we gave the top 5 list of flops so far this season, and you were very passionate about it being a bad idea.
Hope he wasn't
Correct.
in New York watching that show today.
For the boys, there's been a lot of hullabaloo on the show lately about the all-time greatest Premier League striker.
Oh, no.
If you expand the question to all the professional leagues for your all-time #1 striker, who is your man in the middle? Wow. All-time greatest striker ever in the world, Jules? Jean-Pierre Papin?
All-time
For France,
biggest
yeah,
nose.
I think yeah, I think Papin would have the one in France. Only when I was growing up, yeah, because we had great strikers before that in the 50s, 60s, of course. You know, like Just Fontaine, who is still and will never has that record of the most goals in one World Cup with 13 in 58. That will never ever be beaten, really. Unless they move the World Cup to 100 teams and then you have to play 13 games to win the World Cup. But so we've had great strikers, but Papin had something in that Marseille team for
I
sure.
just like saying his name.
I'm
It's
quite
just a
chuffed.
fun
I'm
name to
actually
say.
sitting here now. I'm actually quite chuffed today that Howard Webb was sat probably having a nice meal somewhere.
Choking
and
on
it completely spoiled it.
Jules, what about in the world? The history of the world. Best striker ever?
I mean, what kind of questions are that?
Wow. I mean, really, if we consider Cristiano Ronaldo as a striker, which he is now, certainly was not when he started his career as a winger, but he is very much now. I don't think in terms of being a clinical finisher and the best in front of goals, I just don't think there's better than Cristiano Ronaldo ever and will ever be, really.
You played against Brazilian Ronaldo. He's obviously always in these conversations.
Yeah, but I mean, you could go back with a few other Brazilians apart from Serginho. I rule him out. 82 World Cup.
Right. VHS.
I don't know. Some of the strikers from Italy over the years have been. It's just a different.
Dennis Law.
Oh, don't start again, Dennis.
What about Peter Osgood?
Dennis Law. Alan Gulzine. Jimmy Greaves.
Jules, where's Jan? Jan's shouting somewhere.
Jan's gone. Strand Larsen.
I did not say 20. Jules, in your opinion, who should France's front 3 or 4 be, including a playmaker, at the World Cup? Mbappe, Koeman, Ekitike, Barcola, Doué, Elise, Dembele, Thuram, Mateta.
That's scary, isn't it?
Oh dear.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential there and options. I think Deschamps is pretty adamant now that the front four at the World Cup will be or should be really Dembele, Mbappe for sure in whatever position you want. One wide, one central. Elise as the 10 behind, which is interesting because he obviously plays as a right winger for Bayern Munich and Vincent Kompany, but Deschamps likes him as the 10. And then the fourth one right now is Désiré Doué, but Bradley Barcola more than common has a chance potentially to be there. But right now, I would say if the World Cup started tomorrow, it would be Olise, Dembele, Mbappe, and Doué.
It's just a brilliant.
Che Adams, where does he fit?
That's just
London Dykes.
But Stevie Clark should be playing. They should be playing like France. That's just a brilliantly talented
Really
group of
is,
players. I mean, and most of them, although some are injured, playing well. Here's another question for you.
Go on.
Talked about Wirtz playing against Man United.
Yes.
Should Ekitike play against Man United? Because I thought he should have played against Chelsea.
Yeah, well, we've got the whole week to talk about that, Craig. Okay.
Well, I'm not in all week.
Come on.
Stevie.
I think Ekitike should play.
Is it a cup? Stevie, is it a cart before the horse case for Liverpool, where they bought so many players and Slot has to figure a system for them rather than buying players that actually fit into Slot's system? Did they go overboard in the window?
I think the way they've performed so far would suggest that that's absolutely correct.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
Hold on. What player didn't, apart from Florian Wirtz, what other player doesn't fit into his system?
I don't know. I'm just reading. Ask him.
Ekitike's a striker. Frimpong's a wing back, stroke full back.
Well, he's talking about performances, to be fair, isn't he? As opposed to.
Oh, he's talking about fitting into players that would fit into his system. There's only Florian Wirtz that has changed potentially the three midfield slots. That's no way to answer the question.
Today, really? Get serious.
But you've not answered it.
I think he's correct.
So, which players have affected the system apart from Wirtz? Is your mate Kerekes not a left back?
It's not just the system, it's the way that individually performing as well.
But that's the question, says fit the system. That's all I'm saying.
Anything you'd like to add?
No.
Craig and Stevie, did you ever play with someone like Thomas Muller, a great player who was intense but played with a lot of joy and was loved by teammates and fans? You must fit the Thomas Muller bill, Stevie. Bit of a laugh, bit of a joker.
I don't know. No.
When you see old Liverpool players asked who was the funniest player you played with, they normally say you, don't they?
Yeah, I don't get that.
Oh.
I honestly don't get that.
You don't like it when they say you were
No, I don't mean that. I don't get it.
Okay.
Well,
I thought it was pretty normal.
well, I don't think there's any doubt that's not the case.
Well, you may be right. I'm trying to figure out the question here.
So someone who clearly didn't take life too seriously off it, I think that would be suggested. Very popular. It is you, Stevie.
Oh, off it? I'm thinking about on it.
Well, a great player who was intense but played with a lot of joy and was loved by teammates and fans.
Maybe you.
I'm thinking.
I know, yeah, it's not an easy one, is it?
Jules, who springs to mind for you?
I don't know, but you should repeat the question again, because just to make sure that Stevie has understood it.
I don't know what's happening today.
I'm thinking as well, like Craig.
Right, if you had to pick one former teammate, Stevie, to be an ESPN FC pundit, only for extra time, who would it be and why? Who's the best storyteller?
Oh, who tells a good story? Big Jan tells a good story.
Jan Molby?
Jan Molby tells a good story. Big Jan's got a memory like an elephant.
Okay.
And he remembers everything. So he'll just pull something from nowhere and you'll be like, look at him. I'll tell you who could tell you a load of stories as well. Peter Beardsley.
There's a problem with that.
Now, you might not understand them. That's the issue.
We'd have to subtitle everything.
See, Peter was completely teetotal.
Right, so he remembers.
So whenever we had nights out, Pete would still come.
Right.
Right? And of course, the next morning, everybody would be around Peter going, Peter, did I do anything last night?
Okay.
Because nobody could remember anything.
Right.
So Peter, I'll tell you, Peter could tell you a tale if he could spit it out.
Craig? No one? No one beats our panel?
No.
What about the wee guy who was the speaker? He said there was a bundle of nails, but then when he got up, John Gagan?
But it wasn't a teammate.
No, was he not?
Put the ball away, will you?
I thought he was a
No, John Gig, yeah. He's talking about a former player.
Right.
Yeah.
Which has nothing to do with this question.
Well, it is a former teammate. I thought you
He's not
played
one.
with him.
I've never played for him.
Well, I thought you played with him.
No.
Well, you've told me tons of stories about him.
Yeah, he's an
automatically thought you played
Never
with him.
played with him.
International
Well,
breakfast.
you don't have to stick entirely to the question. The way it's...
Jules, you work with...
Former teammate.
Jules, you work with lots of people who would fit in, do you think, with this lot?
Yeah, I was with Manu Petit on Friday. We did something for Ligue 1, and he had really good stories. Some of them I knew but I'd forgotten, and he was telling them in a great way. The problem is, if we have Frank and Manu on the show, it's the end of ESPN FC, I would say. So
Yeah, 'cause is he a
maybe
pain
not
in the
them
butt as
together,
well?
but Manu Petit would be good to the show.
Bruce Grobbelaar would tell you a load of stories.
Does a Man U Petit
That may
go
not
every
exactly
2
be
minutes?
true.
I think there was a penalty 47 minutes ago.
What about Berbatov? Does culture eating strategy for breakfast? Any other favourite quote that has been repeated by former coaches? Culture eats strategy. Have I missed something?
No, I heard one the other day.
That's Pochettino's thing, wasn't it?
Well,
He put it on his whiteboard. Culture eats strategy for breakfast.
culture eats strategy.
Yes.
Anyway, Jock Stein, former Celtic and Scotland manager, the great Jock Stein. There was a quote I saw floating around the other day. He once said to the players, "You train hard from." You heard this one?
Aye.
You train hard from a Monday to a Friday so that you can have a Saturday off to enjoy yourself and play football.
Oh, that's nice. That's lovely, isn't it?
You think?
Yeah, I think that's quite cool. Like you do the hard work Monday to Friday and rewarded by being able to go out there and
You're
play.
such a cynic.
I'm not a fan of all these stupid
Quotes.
things. All these quotes. Do me.
Right.
You know when you walk into stadiums, they've got all these stupid quotes.
Yes.
Maybe if you
Too
did
many
some of the
brains,
revs, it would have been, inspiring.
Honestly.
Did you not give inspiring team talks?
No.
No.
Monday to Friday, so they could enjoy themselves on a Saturday. How about that one?
What's wrong with you today? Why are you in a mood?
I just hate those quotes. You see them all over
You
the
hate
shop.
lots of things today.
Absolute garbage. Did the coaches really think any players actually think about those things and actually take them on board? Absolutely not. What a lot of nonsense.
Right. Jules, is there a chance where we'll see Pogba playing for France again?
He dreams of it. I think Deschamps has left the door open, but first he has to play for Monaco. We thought he was going to be playing next week, so next weekend when the league starts again. That was the plan, but he's got a little niggle, let's say, so that will delay his return to the pitch after so long, obviously, after the ban. There's a new manager also at Monaco that's coming in, Sébastien Pocononi, so we don't know exactly how that's going to go for the Pogba project, if you want, but we should see him before the end of the month. I'm really hopeful, and then it's down to him. If he gets back to his best level, I think there will always be a place for him with the national team.
Final question, Jules. If you could use either statistics or the eye test to judge a player, what are you picking?
I still think, as much as you know I love data, I still think that the eye test is also the most important right now. You can show me all the data you want, all the numbers. I would want to see the players with my eyes, and it doesn't have to be all about the eye test. I think there's a lot of things you can't see with your eyes, but yeah, the eye test surely.
You're not really using one or the other, are you?
Well, this is just
Back in the day.
I think this is hypothetical.
Back in the
Craig.
day,
If you
it
had
was
to pick one. I think
it's
it's just the basis of the
that's
question.
just stupid.
It's just a nice question.
Back in the day,
Hypothetical. Which one do you choose?
it was only an eye test. Now you can use both barometers, which aids the situation. Let's get off air to cheer him up.
That's it, we're done. ESPN FC returns to your screens tomorrow as the internationals continue. You here tomorrow?
Yes!
Oh, good, I'm off.
Why am I in tomorrow? Any day for that matter.